Thank you very much indeed. I live in Sweden. I live in a country where I was welcomed with open arms in 1999. Despite the fact that I had €3 in my pocket, I was welcomed with dignity and humanity. I live in a country that taught me its language and completed my education at its own expense. I live in a country that believed in me, and I have repaid that country's faith by living there and by paying my taxes ever since. I live in a country that fixed this broken arm on a Saturday afternoon playing football and got me home in time for match of the day. I live in a country that saw people fleeing from war and oppression in 2015 and welcomed 163,000 of them into their country and gave them food and shelter. I live in the country where the chairperson of the Sports Journalists Association, of which I am a member, is a woman, and many more women sit in the press box beside me every weekend. I live in a country where full-time childcare for 2 children used to cost me €220 a month for both. I live in a country where I do not worry about my in-laws getting older, or where I myself as a self-employed person would get sick. I live in a country with a comprehensive public transport system that runs on time. I live in a country where I don't worry for the future of my children, and where the hall door of our home, in an urban setting where there was riots about 3 years ago, is left unlocked for most of the day. I live in a country where third-level education is free, and students can get both grants and subsidised loans to ensure that they can complete it. I live in a country where the beer is expensive and horrible, where you can't get a smoked cod and chips, and where they've never heard of a spice bag. I live in a country which has a terrible shortage of housing because it has adopted the market solution to the problems of the state. I live in a country which is one of only a handful in the world in which it is legal for a private enterprise to profit from the education of children. I live in a country that sells weapons to despotic regimes and that has companies that develop technologies specifically designed to keep refugees out of Europe. I live in a country that has subtly racist structures that build glass walls around areas like the ones in which I live to ensure that people will not reach their full potential. I live in a country that is by no means perfect. But I live in a country that is built on generations of social democratic values in which everyone is equal and everyone is taken care of, regardless of the thickness of their wallet or where they went to school. I live in a country that I have lived in now for 17 years, but I am not a citizen of that country. I live in a country that is not my country. I long for the day when this country, which is my country, learns from my current home. I want this country, my country, to treat my father and my mother and my brothers and my sister as individuals, not out for themselves, but as people to be taken care of with dignity. I want this country, my country, to be led by leaders who think not for themselves, but for their fellow citizens in the first instance. I want this country, my country, to be worthy of my fellow citizens and to recognize the truth in one of the oldest proverbs we have that goes back to the time of Strongbow. Neart, chur, there is no strength without unity. Go on, Mila. Thank you.